What's up guys, Shane aka MustyYeti here. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Today's going to be a video that I'm really excited to bring you guys. In this video we're going to be discussing the ATIBAL XP6 Mirage. Now if you guys have followed my channel for a while, you know I did review the ATIBAL XP8. This is a great scope. It's a high value scope. It's a low price point for the quality you get, the glass you get, the reticle you get. This is a great bang for your buck, and that is especially true with the ATIBAL XP6 Mirage. Now, in that video, I covered the XP8. I said, you know, I really did like the XP8. Well, I like that. I freaking love this thing. This thing has blown me away in the few hundred rounds I've put through this rifle. So before I get into the details of why I enjoyed it, why my friends shot it, enjoyed it, I want to discuss some specs of this thing so you guys can get some close-ups, see everything, know how it works, and talk about the reticle and the first focal plane. So let's get into this thing and tell you why this thing has spoiled me and why this is never coming off of my AR-15. So let's go ahead and get this video started, guys. XP6 Mirage coming right up. Alright guys, so here's a close-up of the ATIBAL XP6 Mirage. Now like I said, I want to cover some specs before I talk about my thoughts and actually walk you through this scope and tell you my impression and my thoughts on everything from the reticle to the glass, to the magnification, turn dial, windage and elevation, all that. So let's just cover some specs real quick. This ATIBAL XP6 Mirage is a 1:6. The objective lens is a 24mm. The eye relief back here at the back is 4 inches. Your field of view is anywhere between 116 to 19 feet. The tube size here is 30mm. The turret styles that you have up here are low profile and they're capped. Max elevation adjustment is 60 MOA. Max windage adjustment is 60 MOA. It weighs about 18 ounces without the mount, and its length from front to back is 10.5 inches. And it is made of 6061 T6 aircraft grade aluminum. So just so you guys know, it's like all things aluminum. It's going to be super strong and super lightweight. This thing has 11 brightness settings. It's fully multi-coated lens. Yeah, this thing is waterproof, shockproof, fog-proof, all the proofs you guys care about. It has a lifetime warranty, which is always really nice to have in your product. So no matter what happens to this thing, ATIBAL's got you covered and they'll take care of you and get you a new one. And the biggest feature on this thing that we're going to discuss in detail later is that it is front focal plane, or FFP. That is a huge deal with magnified optics. So let's just cover the scope from front to back and my interactions and my thoughts on this scope. Alright, so one last thing before I go into my thoughts and before we really discuss the reticle on this thing, I want to just walk you guys through the scope from front to back. Now, like I said before, I did review the ATIBAL XP8, and I covered this thing in great detail. So if you guys want to know more about this, if I missed something on this scope, check the card in the corner, because as you guys can see, the build quality, just the overall look of this scope is very similar. They didn't reinvent the wheel, which is a good thing, because the XP8 was a home run, and this thing is too. So let's start at the back here. We have just your standard, lens cap, lens covers. There's really, nothing to write home about here. Not gonna lie to you guys, for just, your standard lens cap covers. On the back here, we have your focusing, dial, so you can help get your, target, in focus as quickly as you need to. Moving on up, we have the magnification dial, and as you can see, they've got some nice knurling texturing here, so you can make grabbing this thing super easy. And they also have this little nub at the top. Now that nub is threaded, and you can get all sorts of different size and colors of these dials, of these levers. Again, I discussed it in that XP8 video, so check it out in the corner. But they have these in red and black and blue. They're short, they're long, there's like a cone. They have tons of different shapes, sizes and colors to really let you guys customize this scope to not only match your rifle, but match whatever ergonomics you want out of your scope. I will say that this thing is pretty buttery smooth. It's definitely not hard to actuate, and it's definitely not too easy. It's right where you need to be, where there's a little bit of resistance, but you're not fighting this thing to magnify it or reduce the magnification. It's just a really nice buttery smooth magnification dial here. At the top, you can see we have a small dot there to let you know what magnification you are on. Again, you have 1 all the way up to 6. So again, really easy to just look up there and see what magnification you're at if you ever need to know. But moving on up, we have the 30 millimeter main body. We have this attached using the Atibal mount, which is a quick detach. If you guys want to know more about that mount, check that XP8 video that I linked in the corner. This is a super easy mount to install. They make it really easy to adjust the tension on the screws so you can get the perfect fitment you want when installing the scope onto your AR. So if you want to know more about that, check that video out. Let's move on up to the windage and elevation. So just like the magnification dial, you can see we have the same sort of texturing pattern on the caps. Now these caps are, I believe they're fully waterproof because this thing is waterproof, fog-proof, shock-proof, all the proofs. But these are made of aluminum as well, I'm assuming. Again, have that same texturing. In the cap here, you have a spare battery slot for your CR2032. But these are really nice caps, guys. They're, like I said, they're metal. They're not going to break on you. When you come inside, you can see we have low-profile turn dials here for your windage and elevation. They're very easily denoted. You can see it says a 1/4 inch at 100 yards. It tells you up. Same side, it says 1/4 inch at 100 yards, right? So there's really no screwing it up. We use one of those targets that at 100 yards it gives you an inch square grid, so you can just easily tune this thing. And I don't think it took us more than 10 rounds, and we had this thing sighted in, point of aim, point of impact, and it shot great. It's going to shoot better than you can shoot. We had pretty high winds, and I was using a stock trigger, and I got pretty damn good groups. And as far as the dials go, they're actually really hard to turn, which is the way I like it. I want to know when I do make adjustments that there's no way in hell that this thing is going to move on me and it's going to shift my point of aim. They've got some texturing, which I'll get some B-roll of, texturing on the turn dial as well. Just super nice windage and elevation there. Oop, wrong way. That make it really easy to sight in your scope and then also retain your point of aim, point of impact. On the other side is your turn dial for your brightness settings. Now, like I said before, it goes from 0 to 11. 0 is off. Just like the windage and elevation, this is actually a little hard to turn, which is the way I like it. I want to know when I put it on a brightness setting, it stays there. It doesn't have a chance of it moving or flipping on when I have it set off and the battery comes back and it's dead. So I'll get a first-person view down the scope so you guys can see the different brightness settings when we discuss the reticle. But like I said, it goes up to 11. It's a little hard to turn, but that's the way I like it. And inside of the cap here is where you put your CR2032, so super easy. And then moving on up, we have the front lens cap. Again, nothing crazy there. So let's go ahead and change things up, and let's talk about this front focal plane, why it's so nice, and let's talk about that reticle and how good it is to use. All right, guys, now it's time to discuss the best part about this scope, the glass, the reticle, and of course, that front focal plane. Now, if you guys don't know what front focal plane is, I'll roll in some videos. It's going to be pretty self-explanatory, but it's a game changer. So the way this thing works is when you're on a 1 power, your reticle stays small so you can make really quick transitions and that reticle stays small. But say you got to reach out far, you put your reticle on a target, you zoom in to 6, and while your scope zooms in, your reticle does as well, which really makes it easy to see the reticle, see where your bullet's going to go, and make adjustments. Whereas with other scopes, like the XP8 that I reviewed earlier, when you zoom in, that reticle does not change sizes. So if you want to make a precise shot, you really need to focus hard on that front small reticle to see where you're shooting. So that is huge. This is my first time shooting with a front focal plane, and like I said, it blew me away. I knew it was good, but I didn't know it was this good. It just makes putting shots on target very easy. I'll go ahead and roll in a picture of the reticle of the XP6 Mirage, but as you guys can see, it is a sort of a half circle. You have a 1 MOA dot in the center with a BDC with 4 MOA drops as well. And I'll go ahead and roll through the brightness settings here so you guys can see it. From 1 all the way to 11. I never needed the 11 in daylight. As you guys can see, I went out and it was dead noon. It was 100 degrees. There wasn't a cloud in the sky. It does not get any brighter than this. And I still didn't need the 11, max brightness setting, but I can still see the red in that reticle. So it's definitely going to be bright enough for you out there, so no worries there. And when it comes to the glass, it is crystal clear. There might be just the slightest of warping around the edges of the scope of the glass, but other than that, it is so clear. If you get this, guys, you're really going to be blown away with how good the glass is for the price point of this scope. Along with that, the 1 power is pretty damn close to 1. I'd say if anything, it might be a 1.25. There was just the slightest of magnification. It didn't throw me off whatsoever, though. I was still able to easily shoot with one eye open, with both eyes open, and easily transition from target to target without any issue. I will say there is, maybe a slight learning curve with that, 4-inch eye relief. The red dot is a little more forgiving, that you can kind of put your face anywhere and see that dot. This, you do need to be a little bit more specific with where you, get your cheek rest, so you have a good view through this scope. Like I said before, I'm really blown away with this scope. The glass was great. The reticle is so good. That front focal plane is fantastic. Like I said, I'm never going back to, any other scope that's not, front or, first focal plane. It really is a game changer. All right, so you guys have heard how good this is, how impressed I'm with this scope. Now let's talk about its price. Now I'm jumping onto Optics Planet right now. I just gotta say, this scope right now on Optics Planet has a 4.9 rating out of 5 stars. Now that doesn't tell you how good this scope is. I don't know what will. It seems like other people are as blown away as I am with how good this is. I'm reading one customer review right here, and it said, "This scope is better than great. It's phenomenal. Buy it now, and you won't regret it." And I completely agree with that guy. This is a great scope, and wait till you get the price. This scope on Optics Planet right now is $349.99. That is a crazy deal for this build quality, for that reticle, for this glass. Guys, I just don't know what else to say. I'm really impressed with the scope. I'm so glad that Atibal sent this out to me. It's going to stay on this, my precision rifle for forever until they send me something else, because it's a great optic. When I took it out to the range, not only was I impressed, but other people I went shooting with, it was their first experience with the front focal plane like myself, and it blew them away. I think I might have actually sold a couple of these to those guys, by them just experiencing how good this optic is. Alright guys, that about wraps up the video on the Atibal XP6 Mirage. I hope you can tell how much I've been enjoying this. This is a fantastic scope, especially for the price point, the build quality, the glass, the reticle, that front focal plane. It's fantastic. If you guys are in the market, you really need to check out this scope. You absolutely will not regret it. Yeah, guys, that's about it. If you guys could, you feel like it, give me a good old like down below. I'd appreciate it. It took quite a bit of time to record and make this video. Obviously, the money to shoot and test the scope. So a like would be appreciated. If you guys haven't, feel free to subscribe. That's always nice. And if you don't want to miss any videos in the future, make sure you turn on notifications. Yeah, guys, that's about it. Take care of yourself. Stay safe. We'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.